Welcome, everybody, to 914 Wired. We are coming to you with another edition of our talk show. And I am Ardina Stewart. There's Charlie Stern. We are minus Peter Moses, but we are plus our guest, Anthony Merante, who is a long-term city councilman in Yonkers. And I believe it's District 6, Anthony, am I correct?
That's
District
correct.
6 on the east side of Yonkers. And even though Anthony's...
Not necessarily. I do reach over to Warburton Avenue now that they redistrict me.
There you go. The ever-expanding District 6, I should say. And, Anthony is the city councilman, but of late, there's been, let's say, a few challenges to his position at City Hall. And Anthony, fill us in on the details of what has happened to you since 2024.
Well, I think everything goes back to November of 22 when we had that big vote for term limit extension. So it goes back then. I decided that I was not going to participate in there. And however, the council passed it in a 4-3 vote. And the court said it was a legal move, not necessarily a ethical move, but it was a legal move. And so since then, I've and the fact that, in January of 23, I announced that I was running for mayor. So I quickly became, persona non grata, so to speak, everyone. And then a few other things happened, a couple of primaries and, everyone, if you don't want to, you don't go along, you don't get along. So, but that's just my, I look at the mirror and tell everybody I can see I'm an independent person here in the city. And since then, we move fast forward. Obviously, I did not win the election. They immediately voted some pay raises, and the new rules came into play January 2nd. And basically all they did was, listen, they basically cut me out of any committee chairmanships, which, like I said, I'll still be at every committee meeting. I'm always going to voice my opinion, but like I said, they can, they have 5 votes on the council that are going to be all, in tune with each other. And so basically, no matter what I try to do, I could get shut out. So we'll see what happens, though. I mean, we haven't really challenged it at this particular point in time, but that's where we are. And I'm going to continue to fight for the people of the city of Yonkers. They're the ones that elected me.
So one more time, you lost the race for mayor, but you remain a member of the city council. And when does your current term end?
It ends in 25.
Okay, so you have 2 years.
1 more year.
And
2 years. Listen, I have 2 years, but on this particular term. But obviously, the people of the city of Yonkers, listen, I put term limits out there as hard as anybody else could put it, and people of the city of Yonkers said that if they like you, they can keep you, because they obviously gave the mayor, a 4th term. So, I'm but right now I'm focusing on running for mayor again in 27. But I could always decide that I'm going to run for a 3rd term here on the council.
So right now, Anthony Merante is the guy who raised his hand and said, how can we extend another term to this mayor when we had previously voted for term limits? And are you here to say
the people voted twice to keep term limits at 2 terms?
Right. We had you on the show talking about this before it was a podcast, when we were still on WVOX, and you kind of laid out the legislative history of term limits in Yonkers mayoral elections. I guess a different set of rules applied, and the city council passed a resolution allowing Mayor Mike Spano to run, and he won. So evidently he's very popular. So you are running from a councilmanic district, right? There are boundary lines that you run on that are within each of the members of the city council has their own council district within Yonkers. Anthony, if you're popular inside that segment, I mean, what are the political implications? What do you think you can you can get done or not get done based upon your having been removed from various committee chairmanships. Does that matter?
Well, no, yeah, no, it doesn't, because again, I'm going to be out there advocating to make sure that I get my share of paving money. I got to make sure that if there are any issues that are happening within my district, new issue will be happening. Whether it be an ice issue, whether it be a pothole issue, whether it be a tree issue, whatever my constituents have an issue with, I'm going to be going to the administration to get these things taken care of, and I will be as loud as I have to be to get things done if they try to ignore it, because obviously you're not ignoring me, you're ignoring the constituents and the taxpayers of the city, which fall under the mayor's jurisdiction because he covers the whole city. So.
But you raised an issue in your statement about money. You think that this is going to impact your ability to get funds from the city for things that need to be done in your district? Do you anticipate that?
I hope not. Well, I don't know. I don't. I mean, again, it's really, what needs to get done. The most important thing is paving. I want to see a lot of infrastructure work done. I'm going to advocate as loud as can be. If they don't do it, again, the people will respond. There's not only my race is coming up in 25. The city council president race is up. Other issues, other council districts are up. So we're gonna keep moving hard. I don't anticipate them. I think the mayor is not going to hurt the people of the city of Yonkers because of me. I think that we're gonna move forward.
Well, that's the question. It's like we talk a lot about local politics on this show, but at a certain point, it's like we're talking about a few square miles. Why do we need this level of gamesmanship in a space the size of Yonkers? Why? What does it serve, Anthony, from your perspective?
It serves that they have the keys to the car. They have authority. Again, remember, all they're doing is by not giving me a committee. I mean, I'm still going to be at the committee meetings. All they did was, and again, they took away, because I'm already going to give back the additional pay raise on my original salary that went up to $58,000. I'm going to be giving that back in various kinds of donations to people. So it's all they've done is cut me off from some money. I'll still be at the committee meetings. The bottom line is that I don't have a vote in certain committees. I am still voting on the budget committee, the rules committee, and the environmental committee. We're on those three committees. But again, it's the people of the city of Yonkers are not going to feel anything. They're just trying to yield some that they have control. Like what they did was, the minority leader fired my assistant, Connie Braun, who's been working at the city for 25 years. Okay. Now, again, she's off the payroll. I have no committees, and they brought in I hired another person. I told them, well, you don't need to hire anybody. If I don't have any committees, they just like to spend your money. That's all they like to do is spend money, and
so there's another perspective on this, Anthony, which is local politics is about jobs to some extent. There's jobs in City Hall, there's jobs in these departments, there's jobs in DPW, there's jobs in the school district, and I guess the winner gets the spoils. Is some of that going on here too?
Well, again, I never tried to make myself look like I was an employment agency, and I drive my own car. Okay. I use my own gas. Okay. I don't have any reason. I mean, I go to City Hall because we need to take care of business at City Hall. Okay. I'm a minimal cost for the people of the city of Yonkers. What's going on here is, and don't get me wrong, I have a good relationship with my council colleagues, and they work hard. Don't get me wrong. They do it. But the bottom line is if you took this job because of the money, you took it for the wrong reason. Okay. I mean, I guess, I myself, you can see my messy office behind me.
Yes.
I'm a CPA. I'm making money, and
right.
I work. You should not be being on the city council because you need to make money.
So I'm assuming you derive a living in some way other than your city council salary. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Of course, right. But what I'm saying
Absolutely.
is, like you mentioned a minute ago, an individual was let go from your office. I don't remember what the position was. That's a political.
My legislative aid.
Your legislative aid. Now that's a political appointment, right?
It is.
And people who have those kinds of jobs have an expectation that they are subject to the whims of politics and to the controlling party of the moment. So I guess I'm trying to contextualize that it shouldn't be a giant surprise that if you lose an election, with it goes some jobs. The question is, go ahead.
Why was that person terminated?
Plus it was a sequence of events.
But it's Anthony, because it's a political job.
Yeah, but Charlie, but not to defend what happened, but it's a sequence of events. You got a woman who worked there for 25 years,
right?
And it just happens that because of the petitioning, or actually the Anthony's objection to term limits, that the mayor gets back in power, or continues power, I should say, and this woman gets fired. So this was after 25 years.
It's done within the council.
Now
the minority leader terminated her, which I believe was a wrongful termination because she was the best employee in that city hall.
Let me double click on that for a second. The minority leader terminated her, but the minority is the Republican Party?
That's correct.
So a Republican leader let go of this individual. So the position's not eliminated. So who's going to do that job?
He hired someone from his own, that he put out, and he hired someone to work. As they said to me in a text message, we have hired this person to join the minority caucus. Well, I mean, she's not there to help me.
But were you not at odds with the minority leader on issues prior to this person being fired, if I recall?
Well, again, there was a primary of which I worked with the person that challenged the minority leader, which again, that's okay. I mean, you can do what you want with me, and this is what they did. Because of the fact that I worked, and I helped the individual that that ran against them. This is political payback. It's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
That's what I'm saying.
The point here is that the point of the matter is that you terminated somebody that I kept away from that campaign. I knew that she should not be anywhere near that campaign. They're hanging their hat on a couple of instances that occurred that were totally acceptable type of opportunity. I mean, it's opportunity, the word, that allowed. That should not be, and she's taking her action right now. It's in legal hands, and we're just trying to resolve the matter at this point. But yes, he fought, and then like I said, but I personally, like for instance, as we were trying to get on a little while ago, I now have this is my City Hall cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I forwarded all my calls from City Hall come directly to me. So they get me directly. When my constituents call now, they get me directly. You know how many phone calls we get a day? 3, 4 tops.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless an issue comes up, I can handle that. I don't need to, like I said, my assistant was there, but she took care of constituent services. Unlike the mayor has his own constituent services now. So she followed up when there was a call. She worked very hard to make sure the issues that Charlie that you were talking about, that come up. She was there. She's resolved matters. She's had policy changes done within City Hall. I mean, this woman, she works extremely hard. She knows the 6th district upside down, back and forth, better than I probably ever will, considering that she's lived in Yonkers in the 6th district. She doesn't live there any longer, but she lived here for 40 years, 50 years in the city of Yonkers. So somebody that lived in the 6th district that knows everything about the 6th district is now replaced by a very nice woman. I got the chance to say hello to her the other night, but she's not working for me. She's working for the minority leader. She's not working for the 6th district like Connie did. She worked very hard for the 6th district.
Anthony, if I can take this away from this immediate political situation for 1 second, do you receive briefings about things that are more generally going on in Yonkers, you must, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm driving at here is. Have you gotten any kind?
The answer is no. The answer is no. The mayor. The answer is that I'm kept out of the loop on a lot of issues, on all issues, because again, remember, I'm someone that the people of the city of Yonkers respect, and the less I know, the better. I mean, when an issue comes up, like you would think that a storm is coming. Let me know what's going on, anything that has happened. So I'm okay with listen. I'm okay with the fact that they want to try and keep me out of certain information.
Okay.
But eventually I'll find out, and then I start making my inquiries.
I have
that
one.
Makes no sense.
The mayor soon about some of this.
Oh, I have one. I have a specific one for you. Have you received a briefing on the alleged incident at Roosevelt High School?
No, something. I kind of waited back. I saw what was going on, and I held back before I made a comment. And I did issue a statement. And so saying, that the mayor should do an investigation, because again, I waited for the mayor to release his statement. So I assumed that he had some kind of, I guess it was a bad assumption, because some of this is now questionable as to the turn of events. But no, I was not called. I was not given any kind of a briefing on the incident. So I assume that the mayor put out his statement that something did happen, because for him to put it out, I would have assumed that he did his investigation and the incident did occur, which was sad. And Roosevelt now, since I'm in redistricting, is in my district now, and they have a great principal. Mr. Dechen is a excellent principal, and it's very sad to see what happened. But the point here is no. The answer is I was not briefed. I was not briefed on any of that issue.
Are you briefed also on the on the migrants at the hotel in your district, at the Ramada? Have you been briefed on that? Because apparently the city was saying that they had to be. Did they have to be moved after their 60-day stay? What's the status there?
Stay tuned. I have that. No, again, it's a matter of me pushing. I have to push, Ardina. I have to push, because obviously, the mayor has apparently sued the hotel, because remember, it's all about the hotel. The hotel took in the migrants, okay, and they weren't allowed to have them there, more than I don't know, 60. I think maybe only 30 days. But the point here is, what's the use of giving, setting the dog out if you set a dog with no teeth? He's not going to scare anybody out of there, and he's not going to evict them. So we've got these individuals who have been sitting there for how many months now? 7-8 months now, that should have been placed wherever they were supposed to be placed at this particular point. But I know, again, no information whatsoever. It's up to me to start asking some more questions. And I wanted to let the campaign to finish up. Holidays are over. Now people are ready to get to work. So let's find out. We're going to find that out, Ardina. That along with a lot of other things that need to be brought back to the forefront of the city. Especially the infrastructure problems that we're having here in the city. I mean, we can't let these things sit back, because there's some people suffering when it rains.
Anthony, how many residents are there in District 6?
Approximately 30,000.
And I assume
Wow.
each of the districts has about the same number.
Roughly, yeah. Well, that's the whole. That's one of the whole things about redistricting, is about making sure that things are balanced.
Right. So there's 30,000 members or constituents in your district, and you have to struggle to get briefings from your own city hall. Isn't there not a common means of communication between the council office and the mayor?
Yeah, it's me picking up the phone and calling the mayor. Because the council, like I said,
what is that? Tell me what that conversation is like. Mayor, it's Anthony Merante. I got a question. How does that go?
Exactly.
Right.
I have to listen. As far as me getting information ahead of time, I may have to wait till I find out about something, then to call him up. And then the mayor is I have a very good relationship with the mayor. a very good list, and he's pretty open, to respond to my request for information. But unfortunately, like I said, I'm not briefed, when something is about to happen or something that they know doesn't. I have to find out secondhand, and that's okay. Listen, you make things happen. Right now, I stay on top of the issues that my constituents have. Okay, that's the most important. Policy stuff that goes on in the city, people, certain things don't matter if it doesn't affect you. Remember, lots of things are going on in the city every day, every minute. But until it lands in your front lawn, people don't. It doesn't matter.
Yes, but Anthony, you can't.
I take care of those.
But you can't lead from behind. So
Right.
how do you organize yourself so that you can be effective in this situation?
My constituents, okay. But Charlie, be specific on what like the incident at Roosevelt, okay. That is not going to affect the average person on a daily basis, okay. It's a matter that brought Yonkers, unfortunately, to the front page of the Post last Sunday, okay. But it's not something that most people in the city care about. The people, I'm on top of the people in the city of Yonkers. I reach out to them. I talk to them every day.
And what are their top 2 or 3 issues? The traffic light on my corner is not working. The stop sign is face down underneath the snow. The what? Tell me what those top 2 or 3 issues are.
Paving streets, crime, making sure the trees are another issue. That which we brought under control a couple of years ago on my leadership of getting $2 million to take care of a lot of tree issues. Because again, we have a lot of big trees in the city, and people are very concerned about stuff that fall in. So those are my main concerns.
I know what you're talking about. Trees are a problem in Pelham. Trees are a problem in Pelham, by the way. You got like a tree that's 75 years old or older, and if the ground is soft and there's a big wind, you got big headaches on your hands.
My top 2 issues when I came into office on January 1, 2018, pave my streets, and take care of the trees. They were huge, and we got the trees. A lot of the trees are under control now. We borrowed $2 million and took care of a lot of that, but still, people still have some issues with that. Listen, I listen. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listen twice as much as you talk. And I listen to my constituents. I'm there. I'm out there all the time. I call them. I communicate. I want to hear what their concerns are. I'm happy to say that most people they're happy with their lives here in Yonkers. It's pretty good. And if there's an issue, they'll call me up. Now. We have ice issues nowadays because the cold. As soon as that weather gets cold, we'll have some ice issues. We need some salt. They call, you listen, you act.
What about zoning issues in your area? Because on the west side of Yonkers, as you've seen, developers are gobbling up every empty lot, every old house they can find, and knocking them down and putting up high rises. And eventually, they're going to run out of space. They're going to start looking elsewhere, and they're going to start looking for plots over on your side of town. And if you're not being informed about what's going up for auction, what's going up for different variants, a lot of these plots of land are sort of auctioned off literally overnight. So how do you control that?
Well, now that you mentioned that, Ardina, sitting right here on my desk is I do keep this happens to be the Wednesday night's zoning board meeting agenda. So I stay on top of what is going on. So things can't just happen with a snap. There's a process. And although some people may tend to believe that Yonkers does a lot of things, and I defend the administration on this issue all the time. They say, oh, you did this overnight without us knowing. I say, no, that's not true. Zoning board meeting's been going on for 6 months. You just haven't been paying attention. And when I go to civic association meetings, I tell them how important this. I have the planning board over here somewhere. The planning board was canceled last week because they didn't have a quorum. But But again, those two boards are very big now. But what you're talking about, Ardina, I'll tell you what is interesting, and we have to take some action on it. And again, I'm trying to line up my ducks to find out where we are, especially since I'm waiting for the settlement on my administrative assistant's case. But needless to say, there are people that, you put your house on the market here in the city of Yonkers, it's bought. It's bought within a week. It's quick. The thing here is that people are renting them out. Okay. Same thing with, the issue that, Ardina, we've had this conversation before about the fact that what's being built on the west side over there are all rental apartments. And that's the market. It's market driven stuff, which is nice, but it doesn't help the people. Without people having skin in the game, it changes the whole thing. And these houses that are getting bought are being rented. It's a big difference having a renter living in a house than an owner living in a house.
Anthony, this issue has come up on the show a few times, and that's actually a good segue to land on, because of the opinion that you're onto something, because it also means that if you create a city of renters, you're cutting off home ownership opportunities for middle class people, because there's only so many houses in the housing stock. We're not making more, but we're building large buildings that are all rental. And so where are people going to go? Where the home ownership opportunity is going to be for the next generation of young people? So that's kind of a social issue that I think you're touching on there.
Oh, that's why that was one of my campaign issues. That I'm very concerned about that happening, and I would have put an end to a lot of stuff. I mean, especially again, with the between the buildings department and allowing certain things. So
right, we're going to
you got to stop it.
We're working on having County Executive George Latimer on here next week. It's this little teaser for everybody. I think we're gonna have him on, and housing is certainly going to be on the agenda for that conversation. He understands a lot about it, and he wants to be in Congress, and Congress is where you can get money to do pretty much whatever you want to do. So we'll have to see what he has to say about that, Anthony. But Anthony Merante, politician for the people, he's got 2 ears and one mouth because he listens twice as much as he talks.
We all have 2 ears and one mouth, not just me.
Agreed. Well, thank you for coming on today on behalf of Ardina Seward and myself. We appreciate you've been a frequent flyer here on 914 Wired, and before that, Westchester Eye on the radio. So thanks for coming on and keeping us up to date on what's happening in District 6 of Yonkers.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Anthony.
Follow, like, subscribe, and look out for our Instagram page. I try to post reels and little clips from the show. So anyway, thanks.